You were doing well. Maybe for 2 weeks. Maybe a month. You were exercising, reading, studying, going to bed earlier, staying off your phone. Whatever the habit was, something finally felt different. Then you missed one day, then another. And somehow, 3 days later, you were doing the exact thing you promised yourself you were done doing. And a familiar thought appeared. Maybe this is just who I am. But going back to an old habit does not mean all your progress disappeared. It may mean the old behavior still has something your new behavior doesn't have yet, a stronger map back to itself. And once you understand that, the way you respond to a bad day changes completely. If you enjoy psychology that helps you understand your behavior instead of simply judging it, subscribe to the channel. That's exactly what we explore here. Because the real problem usually isn't the day you slipped. It's what you told yourself afterward. You miss one workout and think, I always do this. You spend one night scrolling and think, I have no self-control. You waste an afternoon and think, I'm back at square one. Notice what happened. First there was an event. Then there was an interpretation. Then that interpretation became a judgment about your identity. And once you believe the judgment, giving up starts to feel strangely reasonable. Why continue if this is simply who you are? But those are two separate things. A behavior happened. Then your mind wrote a story about what that behavior meant. And the story can do more damage than the mistake. There's another reason old behaviors return so easily. They have history. Think about the habits you're trying to change. Phone plus boredom. Stress plus food. Loneliness plus scrolling. Anxiety plus avoidance. Sitting at your desk plus procrastination. Conflict plus shutting down. These patterns may have happened hundreds, even thousands of times. Meanwhile, your new habit might have 20 repetitions. So when an old habit returns, you're not watching two equally experienced behaviors compete. You're watching a beginner play against a habit that knows every inch of the field. That changes the question. Instead of asking, why am I still like this? Ask, what brought the old pattern back online? Because habits don't exist in isolation. They become connected to context. And context isn't just a place. It can be a time of day, a feeling, a person, fatigue, boredom, stress, loneliness, a particular room, an app, even a thought. Imagine you've stopped scrolling late at night. For 2 weeks you've been doing great. Then you have a terrible day. It's 11:47 at night. You're exhausted. You're alone. You're lying in the same bed, holding the same phone, feeling the same stress you used to escape from by scrolling. And suddenly your thumb seems to know exactly what to do. 20 minutes disappear. Then 40. Did 2 weeks of progress vanish in one night? No. An old set of cues returned. The environment, emotion, and behavior had been paired together many times before. Sometimes what feels like losing motivation is actually entering a context where your old behavior has far more history than your new one. And this is where things get interesting. Because one bad day doesn't have to become 5. Two people can make exactly the same mistake and have completely different outcomes. The first person misses a workout and says, I missed today. I'll return tomorrow. The second person misses the same workout and says, I ruined my streak. Here we go again. Same mistake, different story, and therefore a different next behavior. This is the trap of all or nothing thinking. If success means, I never miss, then one mistake can destroy your entire definition of success. Your 14-day streak becomes 0. And psychologically, 0 feels very different from 14. So you think, what's the point? But what if consistency isn't the absence of mistakes? What if consistency is your ability to recover from them? The skill that protects a habit isn't perfection. It's recovery. And that means there's something more useful to measure than your streak. Your return rate. Instead of asking, how many perfect days did I have? Ask, how quickly did I return after the behavior broke? Maybe the old version of you missed Monday, abandoned the entire week, and promised to start again next month. Then you improved. You missed Monday but came back Wednesday. Later you missed Monday and came back Tuesday. You still missed Monday in all 3 examples. But something important changed. The distance between falling off and returning became smaller. That's progress most people never count. They only look at the broken streak. But a person with a 14-day perfect streak followed by a month of quitting may have a less resilient system than someone with an imperfect calendar who keeps returning. So stop asking only, how long can I keep this streak alive? Start asking, how good am I getting at coming back? And if you've ever thrown away an entire week because of one bad day, tell me in the comments. And if this way of looking at consistency is useful, give the video a like. It helps more people find this kind of content. Now here's where you can make recovery much easier. Most people design habits for the version of themselves that feels good. The rested version. The motivated version. The version with enough time, enough energy, a clear schedule, and no unexpected problems. That's the person who plans the habit. But that's rarely the person who breaks it. So your habit needs a bad day version. If your normal workout is 45 minutes, maybe your bad day version is 5 minutes of movement. If you normally read 20 pages, your bad day version might be 2. If your goal is to write 1,000 words, maybe the bad day version is opening the document and writing 1 paragraph. If you meditate for 15 minutes, your bad day version might be 60 seconds. This isn't about lowering your long-term standard. It's about protecting continuity when your circumstances change. Because a habit that only survives your good days is fragile. You need a version that can survive contact with your actual life. And when you do fall back into an old pattern, there's one question I want you to stop asking. What's wrong with me? That question turns behavior into identity. Replace it with, what changed right before my behavior changed? Were you sleeping less? Was work more stressful? Did your schedule change? Were you lonely? Did you start spending time with someone associated with the old behavior? Was your phone suddenly beside you again? Did the habit become too ambitious? Did you remove something that made the new behavior easier? Now you're investigating instead of accusing yourself. And that's useful. A setback can become data. It can show you exactly where your system is vulnerable. Maybe you discover that you don't struggle with studying in general. You struggle with studying when your phone is on the desk. Maybe exercise isn't the problem. Your plan collapses when you're tired because you've never created a shorter version. Maybe you don't lose your routine randomly. You lose it after stressful social situations. That's information. And information gives you something shame never will. Something you can change. This brings us to one simple rule you can use the next time you slip. The 24-hour return rule. When possible, don't focus on compensating for everything you missed. Focus on reconnecting with the behavior within the next 24 hours. No punishment. No doubled workout because you missed yesterday. No 3-hour study marathon to make up for doing nothing today. No dramatic declaration that you'll start your entire life over on Monday. Return small. Return normally. Return quickly. Because you're trying to stop one event from becoming a new story about yourself. Missing once is an event. I'm becoming my old self again is a story. Your return interrupts that story. And here's something important. Never make the comeback harder than the habit. People often respond to guilt by increasing the difficulty. They miss 3 workouts, feel ashamed, and decide their comeback workout has to be brutal. They procrastinate for a week, panic, and create an impossible 10-hour workday. But now returning feels painful. You're accidentally making recovery something your brain wants to avoid. Your first action back doesn't need to prove anything. It only needs to reconnect you with the pattern. 5 minutes. 1 page. 1 healthy meal. 1 focused work session. 1 night where you put the phone away. Return first. Build again second. And over time, your definition of a disciplined person may begin to change. Maybe discipline isn't, I never miss. Maybe it's, I notice sooner. I understand my triggers faster. I don't turn 1 mistake into 7. I know what my bad day version is. I know how to return. Because the identity, I'm someone who never falls off, is incredibly fragile. Reality eventually challenges it. You get sick. You travel. Work becomes chaotic. A relationship changes. You sleep badly. Life happens. But the identity, I'm someone who returns, can survive all of that. And maybe that's the proof of change you've been overlooking. Not that you never struggle anymore. Not that old behaviors never appear. Not that every day looks perfect. But that the struggle doesn't control what happens next for as long as it used to. Remember the person at the beginning? 1 missed day. Then another. And the thought, maybe this is just who I am. Now imagine the same moment with a different response. I did it again. Pause. What changed? You notice the trigger. You understand what happened. And instead of trying to repair your entire life tonight, you do the smallest version of the behavior that helps you reconnect. The mistake is still there. But the month-long collapse isn't. Maybe progress isn't the day you stop struggling forever. Maybe progress is the moment the struggle stops convincing you to quit. So the next time you fall back, don't use that moment to decide who you are. Use it to learn what happened. Then shorten the distance between the mistake and the return. If this changed the way you think about falling back into old habits, leave a comment and tell me what habit you're learning to return to. And give the video a like if you'd like to see more psychology and self-development videos like this. And if you want to understand the psychology behind making disciplined behavior easier in the first place, watch the video appearing on your screen now. Because you don't need to become someone who never falls back. You need to become someone who knows the way back.